Hi, it's Tuesday, February 20th. Not quite as warm as predicted, but it is going to warm up, and we'll show you the satellite in a minute. We're going to start our show today talking about the Saskatoon Railroad Modelers. We have some videotape, we have some trains, trestles, and two gentlemen who are involved in helping build that and show them at the Western Development Museum. Wolf Kurtz and Jim Banner are with me this morning. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
You have talks every Sunday. You started them a couple weeks ago, right, Jim?
That's right.
And every Sunday at the WDM?
Yes, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Backed up, Wolf, I guess, by a display that people can be looking at as well.
That's right. We started about 3.5 years ago building a condensed replica of the first north-south connection in Saskatchewan from Regina to Prince Albert, built by the Canadian Northern Railway. And we have now a contract with the Western Development Museum to build this and operate this for 5 years. It's a renewable contract. So.
Oh, 5 years. Okay, that's terrific news for a lot of people who are interested, not just in the models, not just in the planning, but in the history. And then everybody wants to know how to get started in this as well, right, Jim?
Yes, they sure do.
Okay, we'll tell them how during the course of the first interview here. And then the exciting news that the Nutana-Kiwanis Town Market is coming to town. It starts Thursday. I shouldn't say coming to town. It's in town. It's just going to be set up and ready for you to be shopping beginning Thursday at noon. And Harvey Welch is here. He represents Nutana-Kiwanis. Used to be called the world's largest garage sale. It still is, but he says they're just going upscale with Town Market as the name. On Open Line Vet, Dr. Vivian Jones will be here, and the phone lines will be open. We'll also have an animal from the SPCA who is available for adoption. Unfortunately, you have a great choice, and we'll also talk about responsible pet ownership, and many of you already are, and we acknowledge that as well. That will take us right till Flintstone time. So let's take a look at the satellite right now and see that there is a developing low that is headed our way, and it's bringing along a chunk of air from the southwest, and due to ground friction, it's going to come at us from the southeast. All in all, it's going to be mild air coming into the province, and down south and to the west, it's going to get up to maybe 8 today, and so the warming trend is today and tomorrow. Today's high will be only -3, depending on the speed with which that comes in, and the wind from the southeast and will be fairly strong up to 50 km. And tonight the low will be -10. Wednesday sunny, +2 percent of precipitation. The pop will be 0%. Okay, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about model railroaders.
The best advice was from my mother, who said everything has to be spotless.
Tide challenged Tony Loschiavo, owner of Elite Catering, to put new Tide with stain releasers to the test and let his tough stains set in for 7 days.
Coffee, chocolate, red wine's a killer to get out. If I don't wash these right away, they'll be finished.
Don't settle for the results of the next leading detergent, when now new stain releaser Tide gets out more set-in stains than ever before.
Amazing! Tide got out the set-in stains that I thought were there for good.
New stain releaser Tide. Fresh thinking on set-in stains.
So you love it, the feeling of it. You know down and does it, so soft on the skin. Just come on in.
Hanging clothes to dry. That's the real test of Ultra Downy softness. Ultra Downy makes clothes so soft with all that freshness.
So soft, you love it, only Downy does it. Come on in to Downy.
We're traveling across the country challenging people to take the Zest test. These women are going to shower in their swimsuits. This is a family test. On the left, she's using soap, and on the right, she's using Zest. After rinsing, we'll let them dry in the sun. Let's check it out. She used soap, and look at the film left on her suit.
Yeah.
But the Zest suit, it's clean. Did you know this film is left on your skin when you shower with soap?
I do now.
Once again, Zest beats soap clean. North America, here we come.
My name is Gary Lydiard. I'm a makeup artist in the motion picture business. The camera sees everything. Everybody wants long, luscious lashes. Before I started using stretch mascara, I used to have to put a liner on the back of the lashes. The crisscross brush covers the base of the lash all the way to the front. It's really important to us to try and get that long look, and with the stretch mascara, you can achieve that.
Max Factor International, makeup that performs.
Those of you who are interested in model railroading have a chance to learn a whole lot more about it at the Western Development Museum. My guests again are Wolf Kurtz and Jim Banner, and apparently, Wolf, you go to the Western Development Museum on Saturday mornings as well?
Oh, we are there on other days as well, but
yes.
The five of us usually are there on Saturday all day.
And you're extending the display that you have?
We're expanding it, yes. It will be a display for toy trains where the general public can actually operate the train. As it is now, in the present display, which is, represents the line from Regina to Prince Albert, the first north-south connection in Saskatchewan, the general public pushes a button and a sound system comes on and the trains go according to a particular schedule. In the new displays, which will hold two toy trains, which are larger than the ones we are seeing here, there the general public actually can operate the train, run it forward, backwards, and so on. And I think it will be a great success. The display we have now had operating for about 2.5 years. We have a counter on how often this display has been operated by the general public, and it's more than 55,000 times.
Doing very well, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, on Sunday afternoons, Jim, you have a series of talks. You've done the 5 W's of model railroading and then taming the monster on the right track. This Sunday, what is the topic?
Coming Sunday will be on wiring the model railroad. One of our members has wired many model railroads over the years, and he's going to be showing the easy ways of doing it.
So for the cost of admission to the Western Development Museum, people can come and listen to what you have to say about that.
That's right. Come and listen to us, talk to us, see the demonstrations.
And that will be every Sunday up till the end of March.
That's
that you'll be doing that. You haven't done this kind of big program before, have you?
No, we haven't. This is our first time. This is the first year we've had the luxury of having the time to do it. We now have in our group of 5, 4 of us are retired.
Oh, very good.
So that gives us the time to do these talks.
Would you tell me who else is involved besides yourselves? Because then we'll look at a news story that John Lewis did.
Sure. In addition to Wolf and myself, there's Don Diamond, who comes from a railroading family. Tom Powell, who comes from a model railroading family. His father was a model railroader before him. And Scott Gibb, who is the only real railroader in the group. He's a retired dispatcher from CN.
So you all come with different expertise.
Yes, we do.
Okay. We'll take a look at that story that John Lewis did, and this is at the Western Development Museum, I think, when you were first starting to set up.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Well, since the ground is rising, they're not going to be real short, but just, you know.
What happens?
The next time you come into the Western Development Museum, you'll probably see 5 men hard at work on a railroad. They're building a compact version of what the line that runs from Regina to Prince Albert looked like in 1910, complete with Duck Lake, the South Saskatchewan and Qu'Appelle rivers, and the Qu'Appelle Valley.
It gives the general public a good impression how Saskatchewan was settled, because the railway, not only in Saskatchewan, but all over Canada, played a very significant role in settling of our country.
The railway was built in the late 1800s and had various owners, including the CPR and the Canadian Northern Railway. But it wasn't until after the turn of the century that more people settled in the province and the line made money.
Of course, after that, it was one of the most efficient railways in these days run in Canada.
The hobbyists started their work back in October and have so far put in about 1,000 hours of volunteer time building just about everything, including the bridges. And every tree they plant, piece of wire and track they've laid down, even the room they're in, are costs they've pocketed. But they don't mind, because they're learning from one another.
The hobby encompasses so many facets. You have carpentry, woodworking, you have scenery making, wiring, electronics. Just, you know, even laying the track is an art in itself.
The centerpiece will be Saskatoon, but they're still trying to locate photographs of the city around 1910. However, they say their door is always open for information or questions.
Well, this is just one thing that my guests have brought along today to show you the detail in this. This must take a huge amount of time. This is not a kit.
No.
No. What's it made of?
It's mainly balsa wood and fur.
And so each one of those, you know, laying a track has different meanings for different people, and maybe you didn't have the mosquitoes or the hot sun, but boy, that's a lot of work, isn't it?
It's about 120 hours in that bridge.
Okay, I'm going to set it down carefully now, and then we'll look at the larger trestle that you have here too. And so this is also a replica, is it?
Yeah, this is just an ordinary trestle. I don't think it's a replica from a particular trestle. Those trestles in particular were used in the mountains and some on the prairies as well. Every logging railway in British Columbia had several of those trestles.
Okay, so that would be the typical structure. That would
Right,
be the most solid construction. You know, I was going to say it would be hard to imagine when we didn't have the railroads going every which way, but you know what? It isn't hard because they aren't going every which way now, are they?
Right. That's right.
And so it used to be rail traffic was it, first of all, and then it was very extensive, was it not?
Yeah, I think there were several passenger trains in Saskatoon in the 30s and 40s going in each direction.
Mm-hmm.
On both CN and CP.
Wrote a book about the, you know, the 1920s and something. There were 20-some passenger trains a day from Regina, so it was a real wonderful time for railroads. Now, what else have you brought along, Jim?
Well, I've got a few examples of different kinds of engines that we run. This particular one, and I'm not sure that was the one in the video, is one that has run around our layout out at the museum 50,000 times.
Oh, okay.
And we figure that we must have got at least one smile, so it's for each time around, so it's generated at least 50,000 smiles.
People love, who shows up to look at them?
All ages.
Yeah.
Some of the youngest are about 2 years old that watch it go around, you know, in arms. And some of the oldest are in their 80s, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Men and women, boys and girls?
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. And then the houses and everything now, are those kits or?
No, that is a house that's built out of little scraps of cardboard, like in cereal boxes. And
really?
In fact, that's a scale model of the house I was born in Calgary.
Is that right? Oh, my.
Particular house has over 900 individual shingles on the roof. And it was the only way I could get the roof to look exactly right.
Oh, where do you get the patience to do this?
Well, it's probably 40 to 50 hours work building that little house.
Mm-hmm.
It's a work of love. It's relaxation from intense work. I used to work for the federal government, and it was nice to come home and do this stuff to relax.
I see. Okay, so sort of meditative. You let your mind wander sometime while you do this.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Now you have quite an elaborate setup too, Jim, at home.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we have some video, and we'll just take a look at some of that. So that this has been years in the making at home, has it?
Yes, it has. I've been working parts of this model railroad as long as... I'm sorry. I've been working parts of this railroad for as long as 1984. And I moved a good part of it here with me when I moved in 1986.
Mm-hmm.
What we're looking at is one of the two major cities on the railroad. This is a yard that's kind of in between them. You can see some of the types of engines we run.
Is this like a mythical city?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
In fact, they're named after family members.
All right. And boy, I mean, the amount of detail, what do you call it? I'm sorry, forgot
There is a great deal of detail. There's a lot of time putting these things together. Whether you model, as we do at the museum, an actual prototype where you have to study the history of it to get everything exactly right, or whether you design your own railroad and you try to make everything look plausible. They're both quite a bit of work.
And windmill is what I was trying to think of.
Oh, the windmill, yes.
that thing going around there.
That thing going around.
Yeah. So this is all wired, and now this is what you're going to talk, or what the program is on Sunday about how to wire it.
Yes, it is.
Does this take, how much electricity does it take? Probably takes more setting up than actual electricity.
That's correct. They only, you know, a few watts to run the model railroad. It's really not very much, so it's not a big power bill, for example. But there are a number of connections have to be made, and a number of controls. And the bigger the model railroad, of course, the more wiring, too.
Is it important that the sound be, it sounds correct?
Well, this one, what you're hearing is actually the sounds of the models themselves moving. The one we have at the museum, we have a soundtrack along with it, and it adds tremendously to it. In fact, to the point that if you shut the soundtrack off, the whole thing sounds kind of dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've all been exposed to those trains going across the prairies or pulling into to the yards and so forth. So the train that you have is at the Western Development Museum is exactly the kind that were on the prairies.
In 1910.
In 1910. Okay, that's why obviously they were very interested in your being there. So the display, you know, you say you have the 5-year contract, it will stay there then?
Yeah, we're hoping that the contract will be renewed, and it looks every indication that it will be.
Sure, yeah. And it's owned by you as a group?
Yes, it is.
Are you open to new members?
No, we're just a group. We're not really a club.
Okay,
we're a group that has a contract with the museum. But we certainly enjoy having people come into the museum and talk to us.
They may want to start their own group and do a project.
Yes.
It's really quite wonderful, and as you say, people have been showing up. They've been finding out about the Sunday talks.
Oh, yes.
And so that's the best point of contact with you outside of Saturday mornings.
Yes, it is.
At the museum. And so wiring the model railroad, and then next Sunday, the 3rd of March, it's tune in, tune up, tuning trains for better performance. So there's that work involved too.
Yes.
Terrific. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Wolf Kurtz and Jim Banner, both members of the Saskatoon Railroad Modelers, and again, the Western Development Museum is where the display is. You can see it any day of the week, but see them Saturday morning or hear them Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, and it's free of charge after you get into the museum, and that's regular admission. Thanks again.
Thank you.
We'll talk about the Nutana Kiwanis Town Market right after this.